Good evening. With the Guyana Learning Channel's News in Capsule for Monday, December 13, 2021, I am Kingsley Bryan. Here's a look at some of the top stories we will be covering this evening. We'll tell you that the government begins rollout of cash grant distribution to hundreds of severed sugar workers at Enmore and Wales. Then, 90% of drainage infrastructure operational. Prime Minister notes following cabinet-level meeting on flooding. Also, IWOKRAMA commissions new medical center, funding provided by the government of Japan. And in news from the region, the University of West Indies and Inter-American Development Bank inked a MOU to support research and strategic initiatives linked to digital transformation and climate change. And on the international scene, NASA launches laser communications demo to revolutionize the way agencies communicate across the solar system. And now for the news in detail. Hundreds of severed sugar workers who lost their jobs following the closure of several sugar estates turned out at the Enmore and Wales sugar estates to receive their $250,000 severance payment, a commitment of the PPPC administration. On Saturday, Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, and Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, spearheaded the distribution of over 2,500 checks to the severed workers of the East Coast and West Bank villages. In total, over $600 million in checks were distributed to the former sugar workers. At Enmore, Dr. Singh told participants that the sugar industry is part of the social and economic fabric of Guyana. Dr. Singh went on to highlight that any responsible government would understand the importance of the sugar industry, not just to communities, but the country at large. In delivering his remarks, Minister Mustafa indicated that due to the closure of sugar estates, workers were forced to move to different parts of Guyana and even migrate to other countries in search of jobs and a better life. He also noted that based on engagements with the former sugar workers, many of whom were parents, they were unable to send their children to school. Minister Mustafa further added that the government is aggressively pursuing the reopening of the sugar estates. In keeping with this, he noted that some laid-off workers have already been rehired by the company. Minister Singh also announced that the government is identifying how the skills and expertise of the sugar workers can be redirected to other sectors, such as infrastructure and even the oil and gas industry. And Prime Minister Brigadier Mark Phillips has related that over 90% of drainage infrastructure, including pumps and sluices, are fully operational and are being used to subside the floods along the coast. The Prime Minister made the disclosure on Sunday, following a meeting with the Cabinet Task Force on Flooding at the Office of the Civil Defense Commission. The task force met to provide an update on the floods. Many of the sluices and pump stations, the Prime Minister noted, were inspected by ministers of government, regional and neighborhood authorities, who, in turn, reported to the constituents of the task force. Due to the severe impact of the May-June flooding event, the country's preparedness to provide mitigating responses was boosted. Notably, the Prime Minister received reports during the meeting that all the pumps in Georgetown are working, and one of those was even boosted in its capacity to pump water. The Prime Minister said exceptional rainfall measurements were recorded. Out of the 70 listed NDCs, we've had flooding reported in 23 of those NDCs, affecting just about 5,900 households, the Prime Minister also added. Regions 1 through 6 are affected by the floods. The IWOKRAMA office has also reported that 2 to 3 inches of rainfall each day are expected over the coming days. The Prime Minister has also urged responsibility and preventative measures as the flooding event is expected to continue. Also present at the meeting, either in person or virtually, were Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell, National Security Advisor Captain Jerry Gavaya, Chief Hydrometeorological Officer Dr. Garvin Cummings, Chief Executive Officer of the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, Lionel Wordsworth, and other key heads and representatives of agencies that report to the task force. Meanwhile, the IWOKRAMA International Center announced on Monday that it commissioned its new medical center located at the IWOKRAMA River Lodge and Research Center at Kuru Pukari. Funding in the sum of 89,000 US dollars was provided by the government of Japan through a grant for grassroots human security projects under the auspices of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in Guyana. The project was developed to enhance and upgrade the existing medical facilities at the IWOKRAMA River Lodge, thereby improving the services provided to staff, nearby communities, and road users. During a simple commissioning ceremony, Mr. Yasuhiko Kamada, Counselor of the Embassy of Japan in Trinidad and Tobago and designated to Guyana, opined that the completion of the project, despite the challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, is testament to the determination and commitment of the IWOKRAMA team to the improvement of healthcare services for their staff, residents of Kurupukari and Lindem Letem road users. He also stated that Japan was pleased to support such a project and reiterated its country's commitment to strengthen bilateral ties with Guyana. In delivering a message on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador George Talbot remarked that the new medical center demonstrates the ongoing, excellent and long-standing relationship between Guyana and Japan. He highlighted the bilateral relations enjoyed by the two countries and expressed the gratitude of the government and people of Guyana for Japan's support to IWOKRAMA, Guyana's flagship biodiversity research center. Mr. Dane Gobin, CEO of IWOKRAMA, noted that the medical facility has been extremely timely since it came on stream with the advent of COVID-19, and so served the 600 residents of Kurupukari, including the indigenous community of Fairview. The IWOKRAMA International Center expressed its deepest appreciation to the government and people of Japan for providing this valued support to the center and the communities. The center is hopeful for future collaboration with the government, research institutions, and people of Japan. IWOKRAMA also thanked the government of Guyana for its assistance in this bilateral partnership. The support of IWOKRAMA's hardworking staff and its community partners during the implementation process was also commended. And in the world of sports, Guyana has been named one of the host countries for the 14th edition of the International Cricket Council, ICC, Under-19 World Cup next year. The ICC is an international limited overs cricket tournament. The tournament will run from January 14 to January 5, with Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as Trinidad and Tobago confirmed as other venues. A total of 10 venues will be used for the tournament. At the official venue announcement and commemorative bat presentation ceremony held at the National Stadium, Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport Charles Ramson Jr. said not only will the event give opportunities to the youth of our country, but also it will aid economic development. The minister noted that with such investment, a number of sectors and the people of the country, importantly, will be able to benefit from this tournament in a number of ways. The minister also shared that this event will play a critical role in enabling Guyana to prepare for the 2024 World Cup tournament. Open quote. So, this is the Under-19. It is the precursor to getting into the big World Cup. It tests our readiness, it tests our strength, it tests also our personnel, it tests our facilities. We know now where and how we have to make the investment to get ourselves into a strong position to host as many games as possible for the 2024 World Cup, end of quote, the minister said. Senior ICC events manager, Mr. Benjamin Lever, said it is clear the relationship Guyana has with the West Indies is strong, as this will not be the country's first time hosting an event of this nature. With Guyana now hosting the Under-19 tournament, this makes it the only country to host all 4 World Cups award of the West Indies. And this story was extracted and modified from the newsroom. And in news from the region, the University of the West Indies and the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, have signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to support joint research and strategic initiatives linked to digital transformation, climate change, and resilience. The MOU will build upon a solid partnership that has continued to grow and strengthen, according to Dr. Stacey Richards Kennedy, Pro Vice Chancellor for Global Affairs at UWI. She noted that the Caribbean is battling a convergence of potential debilitating forces: COVID-19, climate change, chronic diseases, crime and violence, among others. Commenting on the partnership during a signing ceremony on Thursday, UWI Vice-Chancellor Professor Sir Hilary Beckles shared that he observed the IDB's President's Vision 2025 plan. It aligns closely with UWI's AAA strategic plan. Open quote, "The issues that are important to us are important to IDB. The common academic spine, the common activist approach to finding solutions, not just academically, but finding practical solutions to some of these big issues: digital transformation, climate change, and the impact on our economies, gender, justice, and equality," end of quote. He also signaled that the institutions would explore opportunities with IDB Invest, which he said, if materialized, can be game-changing for the UWI, helping to be more financially self-sustaining. The agreement between the two institutions will also foster further cooperation under the umbrella of BIAD Academy, the IDB's centralized knowledge hub for providing the public with access to development-related knowledge and learning resources. Mr. Claver Caron, representative of IDB, also paid a high-level visit to Jamaica this week, where he also met with Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark. And that story was extracted and modified from Loop Caribbean News. And on the international scene, the use of invisible lasers in space may sound like something from science fiction, but it's real. NASA's Laser Communications Relay demonstration could revolutionize the way the agency communicates with future missions across the solar system. These lasers could lead to more high-definition videos and photos from space than ever before, according to the agency. The mission launched Tuesday at 5:19 a.m. Eastern Time as a payload aboard the U.S. Department of Defense's Space Test Program Satellite 6 from Cape Canaveral, Florida. The launch was rescheduled from Sunday after a leak was discovered in the Rocket Propellant 1 ground storage system. This was repaired prior to Tuesday's launch. Since 1958, NASA's used radio waves to communicate with its astronauts and space missions. While radio waves have proven track record, space missions are becoming more complex and collecting more data than before. Think of infrared lasers as the optical communication version of high-speed internet, as opposed to frustratingly slow dial-up internet. Laser communication will send data to Earth from an orbit synchronous with the Earth's rotation, 22,000 miles above Earth's surface, at 1.2 gigabits per second, which is like downloading an entire movie in under a minute. This will improve data transmission rates 10 to 100 times better than radio waves. Infrared lasers, which are invisible to our eyes, have shorter wavelengths than radio waves, so they can transmit more data at once. Using the current radio wave system, it would take 9 waves to send back a complete map of Mars, but lasers could do it in 9 days. The Laser Communications Relay demonstration is NASA's first end-to-end laser relay system that will send and receive data from space to 2 optical ground stations in Table Mountain, California, and Hale-Akala, Hawaii. These 3 stations have telescopes that can receive the light from lasers and translate it into digital data. Unlike radio antennas, laser communication receivers can be up to 44 times smaller. Because the satellite can both send and receive data, it's a true two-way system. And that story was extracted and modified from CNN. And that's our news broadcast for Monday, December 13, 2021. Please join us for our rebroadcast tomorrow morning. On behalf of myself and technical teams, thanks for watching. Please stay tuned to our regular programming. And remember to observe all the necessary precautionary methods to fight off COVID-19. Also, please get vaccinated. It's the only safe and known way to fight the virus. Have a safe evening.